Hello, my name is Baron from Baron's Military Masks, and in today's video I wanted to go over my Polish military SzM-41M KF gas mask. This was the last Polish military gas mask before the adoption of the MP4 gas mask in sometime in the mid to late 80s. The MP4 was the Polish clone of the US M17 field protective mask. This mask you see here is the last variant of the many Polish clones of the Russian SzM-41M and SzM-41M UGAS mask. But in reality, SzM, which is what this is, the SzM-41M KF, is generally just a translation of SHM into Polish. SzM is literally just SHM in Polish. Though SHM is American, or English, and Russian, I'm not going to try to pronounce what it is. The KF variant of the SzM-41M was developed solely for radiotelegraphists. As you can see here with this tiny little diaphragm on the nose area of the mask. In 1968 and 1968 alone, Poland, Russia, and I believe Bulgaria developed a model. It had a diaphragm similar to that of a GP-5M or the SHM-66MU, or of course a PMG-2, in that it was like a much bigger diaphragm, and it was like similar to this. Like it would look basically like this. This is just off of a Devil Biss MSD industrial respirator. It would look very much like this. But yeah. That model would solely stay in 1968 until the development of basically this model in the late 1970s with the black diaphragm. The early ones had like a silverish diaphragm, and then the midlife variants, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they were different silver variants. I don't know the entire history of this particular model, but I do know that they were first developed in 1966. This particular example you see here, it is dated 1977, originally stamped 1976. I don't know if you can see that little error in the rubber right there. You can see 1976, and then it's restamped 77. It's lot number 135. I'm not entirely sure what F is, but you know it's a city that the mask was made in. You can see there's a lot of repair holes in this mask. This one, there's no repair hole here. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. That was like a testing hole right here, but they didn't repair it. The only way you can really tell a Polish SzM or SHM from a Russian SHM is this electroplated metal right here on the valve and the lenses. You see it's like sort of a pinkish hue when you look at it from an angle, like bluish pinkish hue. Earlier examples were this color right here, this sort of greenish color. Earlier examples from like the early 1960s for the SzM-41 from the early 1950s actually. They were around that, like that filter color around that. Original SzM-41s also used that same color of metal. Later, original SzM-41Ms and SzM-41M KFs also did use the electroplated metal. Another way is the hue of the rubber. All SzM-41s, 41Ms, and 41M KFs utilize a color of rubber which is like extremely bright white. It's like not even gray, it's just straight white. If you can get like unissued examples, this one's sort of discolored on like the facepiece around it. It's like bright white. You can tell like the background of this video, it would be that around that color. They were pretty white. I'm not sure if any other differences or anything. Another difference would of course be the markings right here on the side. They'd be much different. The Russian one would be much larger, and it would not say F. This mask was Originally issued to the Polish People's Army, but it's saw some use with the Egyptian army at some points in the 1960s, I believe. And also with the industry, like industrial use. The industrial kit for this mask would be called the MUA. That's what a lot of stupid collectors like to call this. It's not, if you just have a mask and like one other item, like the filter and the hose, it's not an MUA, and this mask is not called the MUA. It's called the SzM-41M KF, or the SzM-41M. Stop calling the OM14 or the MUA. I'm just kidding. You're not stupid if you call it that. I know it's just like for practicality, but it just gets on my nerves when people call certain masks their kit names, like the GP5. I know I'm a huge fucking nerd for saying, oh, it's an SHM62 or SHM62U. Well, screw you. It's that. It's not a GP5 unless it has the full kit. Like the AI2 Aptechika medical kit, the GP5 manual, the IPP-51 or the IPP-8 Decontamination Kit, the anti-fog lenses, the they didn't use a hose. The SHM62 or SHM62U facepiece, the GP5 filter. Something else maybe, I don't know. But don't call the mask the kit name if it doesn't have all those items. Sorry. But this mask also was used with the Polish Civil Defense at some point. This mask is, of course, GOST threaded, 40mm GOST, which is basically used by Russia today because they are absolute morons and don't know how to switch thread for masks. They're modern PMKS or PMK5, like the GP21. That's GOST threaded and was developed in 2010. What are they even doing over there? Someone go invade Russia and make them use NATO or STANAG. I'm tired of having to get modern, in-date GOST filters. That's not very easy. I mean, GOST was developed all the way back into like the 30s with the SHM-1. It is an old thread pitch. Just stop using it. Go onto a modern thread. Use STANAG, use NATO, use something else other than GOST. Which means that this mask can use any filter that's GOST. So it can use this. Like this filter, it is dated 1981. It is a Polish E014. It is not an EO14, it is an EO14. Because the Polish decided to be different and put the E apart from the O and 14. EO14 was also a Russian filter, but the Poles like to copy everything that the Russians did and name everything the same, I guess. Much like how this is an IPP-51M Decontamination Kit. It's green, but I'm not going to take this thing off. See a little bit right there. The Russians had the IPP-51. Also, that reeks of iodine. I like it. It's awesome. But the Poles also copied the hell out of the Soviet GP4U with of course, the Polish GP4 mask and the ML, also the MA1 or the MA1A. They copied everything that the Russians did, basically. The hose you see here is also a GOST threaded hose. It also has electroplated metal, so you can tell that I'm lying again. The Russians also used electroplated metal for some reason, so this could very well be a Russian hose, but I don't believe it is. I believe it might actually, it has an X right there, so it's a Polish hose. Let's see if I can get this on here. There we go. Perks of having damaged hoses, that you can just twist the thread pitch without having to twist the hose. Yeah, I twisted the hose, I don't care. There we go. And then you can pull this over here, and then, I'm not going to touch the filter, I don't really care. But yeah, SzM-41M KF is a size 2, and the carrier is original to this mask. Has the thing, that makes it less rare, that has the ID tag right there. Has hose marking on the carrier. I'll show the inside real quick. These masks were developed by Fazer, by the way, a Polish gas mask company. See you guys.